Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Ciao ragazzi, it's Katie. I'm back for another one. And since we're getting closer to summertime, not quite yet here outside Chicago, I want to talk about things that you run into when you are a tourist in Italy. And the biggest one is where you go out to eat. How do you spot a tourist trap restaurant? It's quite difficult when you have never been and you're not aware. So I'm going to give you these tips so you know when to walk away from the very eager waiter that's telling you to come and sit down. No. You walk away. Some major red flags. When you go up to a kiosk, it probably has like the menu in like a glass box. You can like see on like big piazzas, they have them out so people can see what they have. If you see a menu on a table with pictures of food, don't sit there. If you see flags from different countries on a menu with the translations in German, Japanese, Chinese, English, French, don't sit there. If there's menu items, this is if you are sitting down already and you can see this, there's an asterisk next to certain dishes. Now that can mean a few things, but mostly it means that they're frozen food and they're just microwaving your food. And I'm sad to say that, yeah, there are places that still do that in Florence. I know they do that all over the world. Just be aware. Another red flag, and this would be something you would have to know, like a seasonal dish offered in the wrong season. Like, for example, if it's summertime and it's not summertime, but you see on the menu, caprese. No, that restaurant you should not be at. Regional dishes offered in the wrong region. Again, something that if you're familiar with, cinghiale is usually in Tuscany. If you see it in northern Italy or southern Italy, depending on the region, it's probably not the right restaurant to be at. It depends, obviously. But those are major red flags. So if you're walking up, it's really hot, you're there in the summer, you're walking up to some restaurants in Florence, and you're like, okay, where did Katie say we should go? Blah, blah. First thing is that you should be using my guides that are in my shop on where to go, because those are authentic places that I've been to that I know. You could also purchase one of my itineraries. I'm starting to slowly put them out on my shop. I have one out right now. It's 3 days in Florence, which you can interchange, like what day you do what, but I have something to do like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, mostly, and some activities like going to museums, going to churches, things that you should do, that I recommend you do. So that's the first thing. To listen to my podcast. If I mention a restaurant, go to that restaurant, because I've been there and I know that it's good. These signs, I want you to make a note of these instead. So these are the signs that you know you're in the right place. So if you are out and about in Florence and perhaps you start talking to Italians, or you talking to the person at your hotel or your Airbnb, and say, hey, you know, where do you recommend? Like, where's a really good place? Like, where do you go to eat? Those are the places you should go. Because those are the places that are going to be filled with locals and Florentines and Romans and Phoenicians. Like, that's where you're going to get the good food. And you're probably going to be like, I would have never found this place. Probably not, because it's off the beaten path, usually these restaurants. You could also do something like, if it's really, if your budget is important to you, you don't want to go to a really nice restaurant, you could always do pizza taglio, which is pizza by the slice. Very inexpensive way to try pizza. And usually the pizza by the slice is more of a focaccia. It's not like a thin piece of pizza from an actual pizzeria, but it's still good. If you don't want to sit down and, you know, drink a lot of wine and be tired the rest of the day. I always like doing that. But you could also try a tavola calda, which is translated a hot table, meaning like a cafeteria style eatery. So Mercato Centrale, the second floor of Mercato Centrale, has that, and it has been renovated amazingly. So I would totally recommend going there, because there's so many different things you can try, from vegetarian food to really good hamburgers to authentic Tuscan dishes to tripe to everything. Like, anything you ever wanted to try is in Mercato Centrale. Not everything, but you know what I mean. But a good amount of really artisanal, authentic Italian dishes. And it's not that expensive to go there, because you go there, you wait, you get a tray and you sit down in this big open space. It's really, really cool. I recommend going there. And most of those menu items in the Mercato Centrale, the eatery on the second floor, comes with water or coffee. But what we usually get a bottle of wine and we split it. So that's also, like, you know, a total great option. Another option is to pack a picnic. And I used to do this when I was studying abroad, and also when I lived there with some friends. Like, I'd get some panini, I'd get some really delicious things from the forno, from the bakery, and I would go to free parks and just sit on a bench in a piazza and eat my panino and watch Florence and watch people walk by. And in a warm summer day, if it's not too humid out, it's really cool to people watch. If you're a people watcher, it's a beautiful thing to do. And there's plenty of places, plenty of parks that you can go into that are free. Now, I used to go into Boboli when I was a resident just for fun, because as residents, you enter for free. But you could also do that, you know, and spend the whole day in Boboli. Like, totally can do that. But you have to pay. That's the only thing. Okay, so when do you know you're in an authentic Italian restaurant in Florence or in Tuscany or whatever? The menu is usually handwritten, or looks like it's handwritten. Okay. Usually a restaurant that is very authentic, they change their menu daily, or they change what, you know, specials they have, because they have to go to the farmer's market to get, you know, the right ingredients. So I think if you go to some place like this, you ask them, like, what, you know, is good, and you can say something like cosa consigli? Mi consigli. So what do you suggest for me? Cosa mi suggerisci? We won't do Italian lessons right now. But, like, you point to them and say, which one? Quale? Quale più buono? Which one is good, really good? Because a lot of these places, if it's not in Florence for sure, they're going to be speaking English. But if you're in like a really small town in Tuscany and perhaps they don't speak English, they understand it, but they don't speak it, try to speak Italian and try to bring your dictionary and look up things that you're not sure of. Because a lot of these restaurants, they don't have translations of what cornillo is. Cornillo is a rabbit. Or lepre is hair. You know, so there's things you can do so you can be more present and more immersed in the culture if you do that. When there are regional dishes that are supposed to be in that region, you are in the right place. Like cinghiale I was mentioning. If you see some other types of like, let's see, what else can I say? For example, I'll say this because I love fish. Okay, there are some really good fish restaurants in Tuscany, like not on the seaside. It's just because I know that. But not every restaurant has really good fish in Florence, because the seaside is just where you go to get really good seafood. Like when I was in Puglia, and I probably talked about that many episodes ago, but Puglia, I had mussels, cozze, like every day because we were at the seaside and it was delicious. And it was so cheap. So think about if you are in Florence in the middle of summer, look up what the regional dishes are for summer. Like what's going on? What is a seasonal dish in that region for summer? Like a caprese is perfect. A bruschetta because it's fresh, it's light, it's the tomatoes, this mozzarella, like those things like I would recommend researching so you know what to order and like what is popular. Let's see. The other things, okay, I made a list of things for you that to know when seasonal dishes are offered out of season. So these are the things that you know that you probably shouldn't have because they're not in season. Now, I know this because I live there, and also whenever I'm back over there, my mother-in-law always knows when we go to the grocery store, like, no, don't get that. That's not in season. So it's coming from someplace else, just like we do here. Like I get zucchini all the time and I know it's not in season. It's coming from Mexico, but I love zucchini. Okay, root vegetables like carrots, potatoes, fennel are staples in colder months. So wintertime, fresh leafy greens only are in season in the springtime. Okay, summer is the best time for most, not all fruits. Melons are really popular, like cantaloupe, really popular in the summer because they pair it with prosciutto melone. And the saltiness and the freshness and it's so good. If you have never tried prosciutto melone, when you're here in this summer, you have to try it. It is so fresh. It's so light. It tastes amazing. The fall has to do with the harvest of grapes, apples, squash, mushrooms. Okay. And truffles and chestnuts. And I miss chestnuts so much. Castagne are the ones are what to call in Italian, a tartufo, truffles. Those were both fall, and I miss them desperately when I'm not there in the fall. So, you know you are in an authentic restaurant when you are not given the bill. You have to ask. If you are in one of those restaurants that keep filtering people in and out like an American restaurant, then you're not in an authentic Italian restaurant, because usually the restaurant allows you to stay there as long as you want. So if me and Stefano arrived at 7 and we kept talking, then all of a sudden it's like 10 o'clock, 11, and we are never kicked out until we say, "Il conto per favore," the bill please. And it's not because they're leaving you be. And a lot of people, I've read a lot of forums, a lot of like articles about this. Like, Italians aren't offended. Like, they're trying, not offended, sorry. You shouldn't be offended that they're not coming over to say, hi, how are you doing? Is it everything okay? Do you want some more wine? No, you have to wave them over. If you run out of wine and you want more wine, just wave them over. They don't want to interrupt you. They're not at your table. They're not there to entertain you. This is a culture shock for a lot of Americans when they first come to Italy, because Italian waiters, and again, if you're in an authentic restaurant, this is what will happen. They're not, they can be personable, but sometimes they're not. They're just there to serve you food, and if you like it, great. If you don't, they don't care. Like, if you complain, they don't care. They don't. But I would encourage you, just like when you were asking for, like, what do you suggest me eat? Like, what do you suggest me ordering? I suggest trying to converse with Italians when you are at a restaurant. You'll be surprised on how much they do open up, especially Tuscans. Tuscans are very, very warm people. Different regions in Italy can be different, but step out of your comfort zone, give it a try, learn to ask for the bill. Just say, il conto per favore, grazie. Like, and be kind. Oh, good God, be kind. Be kind to everybody that you come in contact with when you are traveling anywhere in the world, because you never know. Like, you don't know until you know. That's what you don't know until you know, until you're there. But yeah, so how you spot a tourist trap, just to recap. So don't go to places where there's photos on the menu. There's national flags of all countries all over the world. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Don't go to a restaurant that says menu turistico, tourist menu. Don't go there. No. I have a blog post on this as well. So if you are a reader, I have all the stuff written out. Make sure you don't go to places that offering seasonal dishes in the wrong season, or regional dishes in the wrong region. Ask Italians where they eat. Ask the people at your Airbnb. Ask the host at your villa. Ask the bellboy at your hotel. These are the places you should be going. Some other places to eat. Okay, Pizza Italia. Pizza by the slice. Very inexpensive and very delicious. Very delicious. You get a drink and a pizza, sit in the piazza, watch people walk by. It's amazing. Go to Mercato Centrale, for example. Go to like a cafeteria style eatery where you can choose from a whole plethora of different types of foods. It's an experience all on its own, okay? And if you don't know, Mercato Centrale, the lower level is where people go to get cheese, to get vegetables. There's meats, there's cheese, there's everything. You can get panini down there as well during the day. At night it's closed. You just have to go to the second floor for the eatery on the second floor. Pack a picnic. Go to a park. Go sit on a bench in the piazza. Go, don't sit in a church and eat. They don't like that. There's so many parks. Cascine. Go sit along the Arno. There's places to do that. Further away from the Ponte Vecchio. Just find places to sit. It's obviously, you will know if there's no benches, don't sit there, because that's probably not a good place. But there's plenty of parks that you can find benches. You can go to Piazzale Michelangelo and look over on Fiesole, look down at the Palazzo Vecchio. There's so many things you can do. And when you know it's authentic, you see the menu is handwritten. They have the correct regional dishes on the menu. They have all the correct vegetables and the time. There's melon when it's summer. There's a lot of potatoes when you're there in the winter. You see a lot of apples. You see chestnuts in the fall. Like, these are the things that you have to keep your eye out for. And try to speak Italian. Give it your best shot. I don't care. No, they don't care about your accent. They just care that you're trying. Il conto per favore. I mean, I tried to teach that to my dad so many times, And at least he did. He asked for it numerous times when I wasn't there with him. So he knew that. He still remembers that phrase to this day. So step out of your comfort zone, try to speak Italian, learn to ask for the bill, and just be kind to anyone and anywhere that you come in contact with when you're in Tuscany. Because people just want to be seen and heard and explain their delicious food and share it with you and share their delicious wine and share their delicious dishes. Like, be kind, be grateful, and have an amazing time. You're welcome. Allora, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, wherever you are. And I'll be back here again with another episode in a little bit. Ciao, ciao. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all of my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.